Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here, and welcome to another video. Before we get started on today's updates, I wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and hopefully you get some time off, get to spend it with friends and family, and recharge those batteries. And I also wanted to thank everyone for their wonderful support this year. It's been great sharing with you my fishy experiences and a little bit of the machining ones as well. And hopefully we'll get to see a lot more of that in the new year. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this particular aquarium, this is a recent client acquisition of mine. It's just about a 95-gallon aquarium. It's built into the wall so you can see through from both sides. And it's, like I said, it's relatively new, so it doesn't have as many fish as it's going to have, but it's starting to come together, so I thought I would show that and just let people know that this is what I do. I set up aquariums for people, and then I try and make them look at least a little nice, and then, of course, maintain them and all that sort of stuff. So let's get on with the updates for today. The 5-stage airlift up to the tray system on the 7-foot tank, I'm actually really getting to like that. I mean, obviously, it has zero commercial applications. I mean, there might be someone who really likes the look of it as well and wants it, but it's really not something that can go anywhere. It's just way too big, and it's obviously easy just to use a water pump and do the whole thing much simpler. But like I said, there's something about it, some sort of aesthetic appeal or whatever. I like it, and it actually is functioning really quite well. But one of the things I want to change is it needs an intake screen. I've had a couple guppies go through it, and it's no big deal. But I noticed while they're in each of the chambers, before they get to the filtration, there's a fair amount of current in there, and I think it's going to stress them out a little bit more than I'd really like to. And so it's just simple just to put a screen on it and avoid that whole thing. So I'm going to put that on. I put it on at this point, and you can see it still flows really quite nicely. I will keep an eye on that, of course. And the other thing you'll notice on the top there is I put a splash guard on the front now, the front panel. I didn't bother showing the build for that. It's just straightforward. It's just a couple pieces of acrylic, and it just sits there. So, but there you go. There's the intake screen, and it's still flowing really nicely. I haven't put any plants in yet. But I'm also going to put shrimp and scuds in each of those levels once I have the plants there, because they're not as susceptible to water currents as everything else, because they'll just hang on to the plants and the roots that grow there, and they will obviously help deal with any sort of plant matter, because that's what they're perfectly good for. So this is actually doing really well. I'm really happy with this. One of the things I've noticed though is, for some strange reason, which I haven't figured out yet, this system is not susceptible to changes in water level in the tank. As water evaporates, it should really slow down. But because I've been really busy lately, I mean, the water has dropped as much as 1.5 to 2 inches in this, and it still flows well. That is one of the problems I've been having with airlift systems in some of the commercial setups I have. I have clients that I don't see for 2 or 3 weeks, and with 1 inch or 1.5 inches, 2 inches drop in evaporation, especially this time of year, I've noticed that the flow rate through the filters for them is sufficiently slow enough that it is worrisome, in the sense that there's not as much turnover and not as much filtration, and I don't think I will be doing above tank airlift systems for clients anymore, just because of that alone. I need consistency with that sort of stuff, so I know when I go back after being away for 2 weeks that I won't be surprised and not have the tank looking as nice as it will. So anyway, that's is pretty much the updates for that. It's time to move on to something I know you guys aren't going to like as much, but I need to show you the crosscut sled that I've been working on. This is actually going to be a very important tool for me. Once I have the clamping done for this, I'll be able to set up and cut repetitive cuts on this, especially for a lot of the really small pieces, which is what I made this for. And my fingers are going to be well away from the blade, and that's actually really important. So what I've done here so far, I didn't bother showing you this part, but I have drilled and tapped and set the bolts in for the second panel. And the reason why this took a little while to get to is, as I've said so many times, you're probably tired of hearing it, is I've been really busy, and this is something that is really, really finicky. I'm not sure exactly how precise I needed to be, but I'm sure it's within a couple hundredths at the most. Those two runners and the grooves for them have to be parallel, or it just binds. And fortunately, it all worked out. And that's actually a big relief, because I've done an awful lot of work on this, and to have to redo something like that, it would just have been so annoying. So as I showed you there, as I was sliding that back and forth, it needs one more thing to this part, and that is I need to put a slot so that the blade can pass through the handguard. That's just so that I can, do a cut fully and don't have to worry about banging into the handguard, and it's just one of those things that you just kind of need. It's a really straightforward process. I'm just going to machine out a groove. The height of it is kind of random. I didn't want to go too high because I wanted this to be really solid, and I don't really need it to be too tall, because most of the pieces I'm going to be cutting are either 1/8 or 1/4 inch acrylic. I may end up stacking them when I clamp them in, just do repetitive cuts that way. But I wanted to have a fairly good groove here. I mean, it was easy to do. I mean, just a matter of clamping it into place, making sure that it was raised off the bed a little bit, and then just run that through. One of the things I'm actually really happy about this so far, about this style of build, is these bolts. I've been able to take this apart and set it up, I think 3 times now. Actually, I'm not even sure, but I can take it apart, and this part's all about, and put it back together in a matter of a couple minutes. It's no effort whatsoever, and that's actually really important, because I do need to do some more machining on the handguard, because I want to be able to, like I said, attach clamps. I want the clamps to be easily removable and adjustable, and then I can't really put this whole thing onto my milling machine. It's just way too big. And that's going to allow me to do that with ease. So you see, this goes together quite well. I wanted the tolerances to this to be really tight on the blade side. I'm sorry. On the left-hand side, which is where I'm going to feed most of the stuff into the cutter, I want that to be as close as possible. So it makes it a lot easier to set this up for when I'm doing repetitive cuts. It's kind of hard to explain, but it actually works out really well that way. As I use this, I'll try and show you why. But as you can see on at this point, the right hand side, the clearance is really nice and tight, which is great. I have a little more clearance on the other side, just so any material that's like shavings that come off have a groove to go down, and that part's not as important. But here you go. This is all set up now. It's working really quite well, and I promise I won't be showing you too much of this, but I want to get it at least to this point. This is where it has to be for me to actually begin to be able to use this, and I'm kind of glad to have it at that level. So the rest of this video is pretty much over now, but I do want to cover a couple other things, mostly just chatting with you, so I'll probably just show you more footage of the 7-foot tank. For those who've signed up to Patreon, I am going to be doing a draw at the end of the month, but this year, Christmas and New Year's land on Wednesdays, and Wednesdays are my normal upload days. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to do for those. I am going to probably do some kind of uploads. Well, obviously, I'm not going to upload on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. I may do a slightly different schedule, or I may actually just end up doing the one video for next Friday and then start back up doing the doubles again in the new year. I haven't decided yet. Once I start taking time off, though, I know I'm going to get lazy, and I may end up just doing the one video. We will see. But I definitely want to get the draw for the Patreons done next Friday, and I'm thinking of doing a matten filter for that as the giveaway. I still have to do the build for that, but definitely anyone who's signed up for that, let me know what you think, if that's a good idea, and I will go ahead with that build, and we'll do the draw for sure, and then I'll definitely get a hold of whoever wins and see if that's fine with them. You know the routine. And also I wish to really thank everyone who's signed up to that. It does help me in the sense that I like to do builds, I like to do giveaways for people, and this pays for, currently it pays for the postage, so that's amazing, and thank you very much for that. And everyone, please have a safe, happy, and Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.